So today we are talking about how to blend traditional family values with politically progressive views, TradPro, and meanwhile being a single mom. I'm going to talk a little bit more from personal experience today than just in generalities, and dating and being an OnlyFans content creator. So how in the world, I get this question a lot, like how in the world can you have an OnlyFans and claim to be traditional? How can you be a single mom and claim to be traditional? How can you have politically progressive values and claim to be traditional? You're not traditional, you're only these other things. And to that, I want to, deliver this episode. So my first point is leveraging the flexible schedule that comes with OnlyFans. Working from home and being your own boss allows for more time with my kids, and just that like dedicated, devoted time as a mother, and domestically, like homemaking and just spending more hands-on time is a traditional value. The motherhood and domestic roles and responsibilities is a trad value. So that is part of what OnlyFans allows me to do. Now, I have actually applied for countless jobs since 2015. It's 2025. It's been 10 years. I've only had one of those jobs and got fired from that job for having an OnlyFans, even though I wasn't currently creating content when I got fired. I hadn't been for months before I actually got hired as a substitute teacher. My son's school needed subs, and they had a shortage, and so I put my name in the hat and was hired, and loved teaching. Former college professor, was in my wheelhouse and did a great job, and so on and so forth. But somebody threw a red flag and I got fired, and that was all very, very public. Anyways, yeah, so that sucked. But all that just to say, it's been really hard being in the public eye and having so much online about me from what other people have said, and just, opinions about opinions, media, flood on not just social media, but all kind of internet online media. That has been pretty much insurmountable as far as finding a job. So that leaves me with self-employment. As an artist, I would love for my fine art to pay all the bills, but it has not yet consistently been able to do that. And meanwhile, while I work very hard to try and find a replacement for OnlyFans, because I know that's not a forever job, I am still on there, and I have embraced that role in the positive aspects of it, in terms of how it allows me time with my 9-year-old who has autism. It allows me more hands-on time with him. It also allows for me to, not have the threat of being fired because somebody doesn't like something. It's like you just abide by the terms and conditions of OnlyFans, and it's a very simple, straightforward process where I get to choose, with my personal agency, I get to choose what I am comfortable doing and not doing. And I push my boundaries on that platform. Yes, I do. I'm an artist, so I'm creative. I like to please, and so I aim to please and deliver content that my fans want. However, I still have boundaries, and that comes to the aspect of being a person who's dating while being a single mom. One of the things that is important to me is that whoever I am in a relationship with is comfortable with and knows about everything that I post on OnlyFans. So my current partner gets everything for free, and he's actually pretty happy with that, and is non-judgmental and supports my work on OnlyFans. His only thing is he doesn't want to share me, and I've actually not yet done any boy-girl or girl-girl content on OnlyFans. So that hasn't yet been an issue. He and I are talking about whether we want to co-create. That's between us, that's in our relationship. But as a traditional woman in a dating relationship, I still defer and make sure that I check in with him and his comfort level as far as the content that I'm creating, because that would be kind of a violation of that traditional relationship and structure, whether you're dating or married. If I was to just like do whatever I want and not communicate, that could be seen as a betrayal. Now, there are some people who are like, I would not date anybody on OnlyFans, and if I started dating so-and-so, especially if I was looking at them to be a wife, they would have to quit. Hey, most creators, let me not speak for anybody else. Me personally, I would shut my account down tomorrow if somebody said, I will replace that income and you don't have to do, like, I want you to stop, and this is how I'm going to help you get to that goal, because it's important to me for you to not be creating this type of content anymore. So I am going to help you. That is the traditional part of provider and protector, right? So if under that provider and protector role, the individual feels like they can accept, or they want you to continue that work, cool. If under that provider and protector role, that partner, the more dominant partner, wants you to, discontinue that, then it's only fair that person would provide an alternative, right? You can't just say discontinue your income and then I'm not going to help you pay your bills and there's nothing else for you to do to pay your bills. I mean, that's not going to work, obviously. So common sense. I would say that the financial independence of OnlyFans work, of being self-employed in general, whether it's OF or something else, does help provide security and opportunities that my family would not have otherwise. And that is a traditional goal of having a stable home. Even if I'm a single mom with kids, I still want my home to be stable. So one of the things that's really important to me is that open communication. A traditional value, just having that open communication with my partner and my kids about boundaries, about our values, about what kind of work we are all bringing to the table in terms of fostering that healthy, balanced, shame-free home environment, and kind of just instilling a respect for each other and an understanding of diverse career choices and how traditional roles fit in with those diverse career choices, and like how things can be sometimes a hybrid and not just an either or binary situation. So overall, I do really feel like all of the things involved in my life right now, although I didn't necessarily set out with a goal to arrive at this point, I'm juggling those things and creating harmony and balance out of what is at my fingertips in this era of my life. And I may not always have an OnlyFans era. I may not always have a podcast era. This is my second podcast, totally different topic than what my first podcast, Peripheries, was about for those 2 seasons. But, there are eras of our lives, there are chapters of our lives, things that come and go. And then there are those things that just kind of stay as an undercurrent amidst everything. And one of the things that's just that undercurrent is my devotion to my kids is always going to be the thing that rises to the top, always. Anyway, I do believe that progressive political values can be integrated into that traditional family structure by not just providing that security and safety and stability of the home environment within our family unit, but also advocating for that for other people. And that's why my volunteer work currently is centered around helping families and youth that experience food insecurity. So anyway, human rights work and advocacy work, I think is easy to coexist with those traditional family values, because you can be an empowered modern woman and mother and still defer to your partner and knit and sew and cook and clean and bake and garden and do all those domestic things and be a great mom and be devoted, and also fight for human rights and volunteer to feed families and grow food for them and so on and so forth. So I think another important aspect of the blend of things, OnlyFans, single mom, traditional family values, and progressive political values, is that I've taught my kids, and we live that lifestyle of respecting personal choice, the importance of personal choice. And that's kind of under choice feminism. You can make the choice to be a traditional woman, wife, mother, partner, and that unconditional love for the children is a core traditional value. Also, a traditional value is that hard work and self-improvement, self-reliance, self-determination, pushing through. If anything, I would challenge anyone, no matter what their issues may or may not be with me or what they think of me based on the media. How can you not say I'm resilient? I keep going. I work hard. I push forward. I do not quit. I do not sit down. I do not give up. That kind of core value is really important in traditional family households, of teaching perseverance, teaching resilience, teaching, that pushing through and not a quitter's mentality, but, that focus, almost a stubbornness to like not give up. So that has been one of the things that I really think that my story and my life shines on that topic, because I'm resilient and I'm still here. And some people still say, like, how can you still exist? We don't want you to still, how did you find your way here? And we're still offended or whatever. Other people are like, you're a hero because you made it this far. I don't care what everybody says pro and con. What my focus is today and tomorrow, this week, next week, this month, next month, this year, next year. And I'm always kind of like planning and organizing according to that. What am I doing now to bring in income? What am I doing now to protect my kids' happiness and provide opportunities for them and support them and love them? What am I doing now to express my progressive values and advocate for human rights? What am I doing now to make my partner feel secure and supported and loved? And, I was joking with him the other day about the F and F, keep your partner fed and effed. Basically, like, that is one of my, I'm like, guys can be simple. Not all guys are like that simple, but hey, good food, tasty food, comfort food, nutritious food, and pleasing your partner is always a good move. Like, the F and F is a good combo out the gate, just saying. Keep that consistent and you can kind of build from there. So anyway, I also think that like supporting the community is important, not just because I'm a progressive political person, but also because in a traditional sense, again, I believe in supporting that family structure, and the community is actually a traditional model. It's actually important to both traditional and non-traditional, and politically progressive and politically conservative groups. The idea of community or collective action can be important to pushing through any type of social change or political movement or policies, etc. So just staying involved in the community, I think, is super important, not only to do for myself, but also to model for my kids, whether or not they choose to get involved, because sometimes they're also like, Mom, why do you even keep trying when people really, just, slap you in the face or whatever? But it's just kind of like, you have to keep going. You have to still support people. Even if they don't support you, you still have to live your truth. And I'm a giver and I care. I have empathy. I have compassion. I have actually a lot of shared feelings around like growing up poor and not having enough food and being super, super hungry to where, you know, developing almost an eating disorder of just like when you get around food, you just can't stop eating because you just, you know what it's like to be so, so hungry. So then like after 13 hours or whatever fasting you were told to do, or, you know, all this stuff growing up, it's like you just want to finish any kind of food that's in front of you. So it's like, if it's a bag of chips, if it's like a plate of food, whatever, you just have to finish every single bite. And I think that you know, is a challenge as an adult. Like I've had to overcome a lot of that. And so that sense of like feeling kind of frantic from lack of food, that hunger, I don't want other people to experience that. And I know what that feels like. I also know what it feels like to be a young mother. When we lived in DC and I was in grad school, we had very little food, and having like going to the food bank and stuff, and it was just like crap food. I mean, it was just like, I don't even know if the meat was really meat. I mean, it was just like some weird food that I didn't even, it was so processed that I didn't even know like what, like if it was even really that edible. So sometimes there's not a lot of fresh produce and nutrient dense food available for people who have food insecurity. So that's why I love to garden and grow nutrient dense food for people, especially youth and young families who need food, you know? So that's just a passion of mine that I am currently living out, and my human rights advocacy has taken many forms over my lifetime. But one thing has, again, that undercurrent has stayed consistent. I always am active. Whether it's seen or behind the scenes, I'm always active doing something for that advocacy because it's just who I am. I'm not going to ever have a time when I'm just sitting down and not doing much. So anyway, I think all of these things are beautiful ways to express myself that coexist just fine and are reconciled within myself. I don't feel ashamed to have an OnlyFans page. I don't promote it everywhere on all of my social media just because sometimes I want a little bit of a private life separation. You know, family life is on one page, and I don't, you know, blast like pictures and teasers and stuff of OnlyFans everywhere on my social media, just because I kind of like a little bit of organization, compartmentalization of different kind of boxes that my life is in currently. So that's kind of just what makes sense to me and where I have peace and where I'm happiest. I also think that a politically progressive value is sexual positivity, right? Like body positivity. I'm 47 years old. Some people will be like, at 47, you don't have an OnlyFans body, like nobody can, you know, it's just like you should. I don't have a bunch of crazy work done. I've had a breast lift, but like other than that, like I don't have a bunch of other things happening augmentation wise or surgery wise. And so I think that, hey, it could be important as part of the human experience to put out a natural looking body as well. And some people are really attracted to that. In fact, some studies have said, you know, have shown that sometimes people are more attracted to natural pigmentation and different, you know, rather than bleaching down there and different things, like just the human body, like the natural human body, no matter what age, can be attractive and can be beautiful and appealing. So all of that I think is very positive and affirmative, and I'm not ashamed of it. And I know that my kids are not ashamed of me, that's for sure. But not everybody has to understand that. And especially a lot of people on the trad side, Tradcon, trad wives, trad whatever, sometimes it's almost like a little bit of a superiority thing of like, oh, I would never. That's fine. Like if you don't want to do that, if you're not comfortable doing that, or if you've never been in the position where that was your most viable and accessible form of income, and with all the different factors in your life, that's fine. You know, it's not like I'm selling out and, being oppressed and, you know, somehow like doing this against my will. It's something that the way that I do it, I'm okay with. So anyway, but it's not for everybody, and that's cool. You do you, girl. You do you, whoever you are. You do whatever you have peace with, right? Whether it's traditional or non-traditional, whether it's progressive or conservative political values, whether you're a single mom or you're married, whether you are not a mom at all, you know, whether you're a fur baby mom. I mean, people have a lot of different experiences, a lot of different kind of family dynamics, and there is a way to be traditional within a lot of those variables. So I just wanted to kind of put that out there to kind of answer some of the questions. You're like, oh, you're secretly doing this podcast over there, and then you're having this OnlyFans life, and people need to know that this is you. Well, I am not hiding anything. It's all on my link tree, which is on my social media. So yeah. And another thing that I don't talk a lot about, but that I'm going to do a little bit of a short episode about, is that I'm an autism mom. So my 9-year-old has autism, nonverbal, level 2 autism. And that topic has come up recently, like today. So I'm going to do a little brief thing about that. But this is your episode about how I merge those traditional family values with politically progressive values in the context of being a single mom who's dating and who has an OnlyFans. An OnlyFans that pushes boundaries, not just like fitness or something PG. Like, it's an OnlyFans. But anyway, so yeah, thanks for listening, and leave it in the comments if you like have any thoughts. You can try to shame me, but I just, you know, I will look forward to reading whatever you want to say. Keep it respectful to me, keep it respectful to each other. Let's have this dialogue in a thoughtful way. All right.